This is an urgent channeled message from Spirit about the inner child. Now, I did get this message months ago, but life's been crazy, so haven't been able to do it. But Spirit wants me to tell you now. I thought the inner child was a bit of a cliche, but I'm realizing how important it is for everyone's healing journey. So this is the message, I've written it down. We cannot actually be fully present without having all parts of us here and now. And what Spirit means by that is all our past versions, all our inner children, and there isn't just one for each year, by the way, all need to be here and here now and healed from their trauma from the past so we can be present here in the now. There are still parts in the past, in your past, subconsciously playing out in your life, which is called, the mirrorverse that we live in. So for me, I felt ignored, invisible, unseen, unheard, abandoned, betrayed, and I have had that play out in my life over and over and over again because that's what I was doing to myself. And my inner child, my shadow, my ulterior motives, all the things that I do, my inner child was actually looking outwards, and I've felt that my entire life. I've always been seeking outside myself, like most of us do. But she was only looking outwards because she didn't trust me to be there for her. And she saw me as the big sister that had abandoned her and left her back in the past, and I didn't go pick her up. I just left her because I didn't really see inner child work as legit. And so there's all these parts of me, all these unhealed parts of me that are stuck in my past that are not healed, and all that stuff is playing out again and again and again in my life in this mirrorverse. She saw me as this big sister, this, look at it as a sister thing. That's what really helped me. Like, your little sisters, look up to the big sister, right? Like, they look up to you. And see your inner children like that. They're like your little sisters. They look up to you. And for me, it was like they were looking up to me as the big sister, this divine, feminine goddess that left her. So she started to distrust the feminine, and that's played out in my life where I've had lots of sisterhood wounds and not wanting to hang out with girls very often. And so I started looking to the masculine for support and safety because I didn't feel it in the feminine, which is actually myself. I didn't feel it in myself. And also I wanted the masculine because of all the programs and the Hollywood rom-com movies that were running in my mind as well. But I was also rejecting my inner masculine, and I wasn't even aware of that. I wasn't even aware that I had an inner masculine until I started doing this work, because I was taught, like we all are as women, that the man is outside of us and that we need a man in our lives. So that didn't help the reflections in my reality. But it was completely innocent, right? I didn't know this was the work, and I didn't know I was rejecting both my feminine and my masculine energies, and all my inner children as well, all my little sisters. I didn't know I was ignoring all of them. My feminine was wounded, my masculine was wounded, my inner children were wounded, and my feminine, masculine, they were toxic in their own way, and so were my inner children because of what they had gone through and what I had left them with. I've literally left them stuck in a very traumatic event and kept going on with my life thinking that I was fine when I wasn't, and it just kept playing out over and over and over again. And for me, now I was so confused in my current reality, like, why does this keep showing up? It's because you haven't gone and healed that past version yet. And the masculine, feminine, and inner child, I literally see that as, I see it as three separate things. They're not separate, but I just see it as the holy trinity of who we all really are. We got all them sorted, we're good. Our reality will be good. And for me, I was rejecting all of them, and I didn't even know who I was because I was rejecting all of the parts of who I really am. And I feel like I've been having this huge, fat, crying, fit tantrum my whole life because all my inner child wanted, all she wanted was for me to come and pick her up. All she wanted was me, but I wasn't there for her. So she's not actually hurt by what others have done in my experience and in my life. She's actually more upset with me and being left by me, and that was actually the worst part for her. That's the biggest healing that needs to happen, is that I wasn't there for her because all she wanted was me. And it's like this little sister that looks up to you, is all focused on you and is like a role model. You're like a role model to them. And she is you. So she wants to fall into your arms. She doesn't want to fall into anyone else's, really. And no one else can really do it. No one else can really satisfy her needs because she wants to be in your arms. And it's your job to hold her. She'll never be satisfied being in someone else's arms, like maybe for a moment, but that's still being separate from you when she wants to be one with you because she is you. So we cannot be present, fully present in our reality until we do this, until we bring all our parts, all our inner children back to the now, back to our heart. And then there's this spiritual bypassing that happens, which is just another way for us to ignore our inner child, because the saying that the past doesn't exist and the past isn't real anymore, well, your inner child, she is very much still in the past, and because you left her there, by the way, she's still there because you left her there. And saying the past doesn't exist, well, it does, because it's all playing out right now in your reality, isn't it? Can you not see that it is playing out in your life right now over and over and over again? All the cycles, patterns, relationship dynamics happening over and over. And you need to check the relationship dynamics you have with yourself and with your inner child, because that's a reflection of everything you're experiencing right now. You need to check your own cycles with how you check up on yourself. Like, you might commit to yourself for a little bit, you might commit to the work for a little bit, but then you fall off the bandwagon and then you leave her. But then you have that reflection in your life. People are there for you, then they drop off and they leave you. And you forget about yourself again, you forget about your inner child again. And does that play out in your life? And I can pretty much say that it will. It 100% does, because that's the mirrorverse we live in. The past is repeating itself because a part of you is still stuck in the old program, and you actually have to go back to that child and tell her what the new program is. And it's time to come home, and it's time to come back to yourself. It's time to come back to your current self, back to your heart space. Come to now, come to presence, because now is home for her. Presence is home for her. The fact that she's still stuck in the past, in that traumatic event that you've left her in, like, she doesn't feel safe there. You need to bring her back to now, back to self. And because the present is home for her, she doesn't want to be stuck in the past anymore. She wants to be here with you. So you actually have to go back. She wants to be with you. So healing my masculine and feminine were amazing. So my inner child, that was like the start of the work, was doing the feminine, masculine energetics. So when I went to go pick up my inner children, they could run into the masculine or the feminine's arms. Both of them were me, but whichever energy that they preferred, they could run into my own arms. I hope this makes sense, but it was hard to love myself or feel worthy of love for most of my life, and still a little bit now because I still have inner children I have to pick up, but I felt so internally rejected, and that's why it was so hard for me to feel worthy of love. And I was only externally rejected because I was internally rejecting myself. That's the mirror. I was internally rejecting my inner child and completely ignoring her. And people legit completely ignore me in my current experience. I'm like, how does no one notice me? It's because I wasn't noticing myself. And what Spirit is saying is that you don't learn the lesson or see it in yourself. And this is why the Mirrorverse exists. That the external mirror will show you and try teach you the lesson instead if you can't see it in yourself. And no matter how hard my inner child tried to get love, I never gave it to her. So that was a reflection in my life where I tried so hard for love and I never got that love that I wanted and that I dreamed of and that I yearned for, because I wasn't a match for it, because I didn't have that algorithm within me. I wasn't loving myself. So how could I possibly experience that in an outer reflection, in my outer experience, in my external world? And the internal reflects the external, right? So I needed the algorithm within for it to come in externally and for it to come in external form. And when you ignore her, when you ignore your inner child, it plays out in your life. And that is her. She is trying to get your attention. She is trying to show you, hey, see, you just got rejected. That's how I feel. Come pick me up. Come remember the traumatic event you just left me in that I've been stuck in for the past 15 years. Come pick me up. It's her literally screaming for attention, and you need to go back and pick her up. And my inner child is actually communicating to me all the time. Through all of your current experiences, that's how she communicates with you if you're ignoring her, and that's how she'll appear. So look in your outer reflections, in the people in your life, see how that might be your inner child trying to show herself to you. The inner world reflects your outer world, right? So the more I showed up for myself, the more I trusted myself, the more I had my little sisters trust me, and I was picking up my inner children. I was going back to that memory and telling her, you can come home with me now, you're safe with me, you can come back to the now with me, because now and presence is home, come with me. The more I was able to trust others because my little sisters trusted me. So my reflections in my current reality right now have started to change. It reverberates outwards. And you need to pick them up, you need to go back in time, and like you can do it as a visualization or a meditation, and you can go pick them up in a magic school bus, and you're going to have to do a couple trips because I'm 22 and there was not just 22 inner children that I had to go pick up. You'll have to go and see many, many different events, and every single horrible thing that anyone has ever said to you, anything that's really stung or hurt, you go back and you pick up that part of yourself, because there's so many parts needing to come back to yourself, to come back to love and get out of that traumatic place. And you'll have to get off the bus and at every stop and talk to that inner child and give that child what it needs, because not every part of you will need the exact same thing. They'll all want something different based on the trauma they experienced, and it will take time. It's not like the Beeline. That's what Spirit said. And if you live in Sydney, you know what the Beeline is. It's just an express bus. This is not an express trip. You're going to have to take your time to get off the bus and talk to every single one of your inner children. And you do not leave her until she's on the bus with you. You talk to them, and you talk to them not from your current consciousness now, because they've been in the past for so long. They don't really care what your excuses are. You just need to give them what they need, and don't ever leave them again. And you need to make it very clear to them that you won't leave them. It's like when parents do something wrong to the kid and the parents go, oh, well, I've been really stressed with work lately and blah, blah, blah. The kid doesn't care. The kid's upset. And that's what you have to do. You just have to be focused on your inner child and meet her where she's at. Not come up with excuses of like, oh, well, I've just been really busy right now and it's been, 15 years, I've been through a lot. Your inner child doesn't care. She just wants love or validation or a hug or attention or whatever it is. You give that to her straight up, and make sure that she knows that you won't leave her again, that you are not getting on that bus until she's on it with you. And the inner teens are the hardest ones I've discovered. They will make you wait just to get you back, like just to test you if you're actually going to show up for them. Because if you haven't showed up for them, they're going to be like, well, you're just saying that and you've said that before and you've left me. So I'm going to make you wait. And you do not leave her until she trusts you. And this is the biggest thing, building trust within yourself, and that will reverberate outwards into your reflections, into your outer world, I promise you. So we need to actually prove them wrong. If there's an inner child or an inner teen that doesn't believe that you're going to be there for them and show up for them, prove them wrong and be there. Be there for them when they thought you wouldn't be, and wait until they eventually soften and fall into your own arms, because that's what they really want to do. They'll be all hard. They might have some hard, tough exterior at first, but they want to be with you. They want to fall into your own arms. You just need to wait for them to soften, because some will be really angry at you, and that's fair enough because you left them. And you need to just wait, hold it out, and they will eventually soften and fall into your own arms. And the magic school bus that I'm saying is a metaphor for the heart space, and taking all parts back to me, back to myself, and taking all those parts back to now moment, so I can be present and move forward without these inner children holding me back. How it got explained to me was if you had a kid, you wouldn't drop it off at school and never go pick it up. You have to go back and pick up your kids, right? So there are heaps of inner children, heaps of your kids, heaps of your little sisters or little brothers that are stuck in the past that you haven't picked up yet, or you've left them at a friend's house and they haven't been picked up yet. Now is the time. This is the inner child work of us going back, picking them up, letting them know, you can apologize, say, I'm so sorry for leaving you for the past 15 years. I'm here now, I've got you, come into my arms. I know you want to be with me. I'll take you into the present. You're safe now. You're loved. You're worthy. You're enough. Or everything that she needs to hear, give that to her, because no one else outside of you can give you that. Like, nothing can satisfy her because she wants your approval. She wants your love. She wants your attention. She wants to be with you. She might look outwards to a partner or to friends for attention or whatever, but nothing's ever going to satisfy her because it needs to come from you. So you need to do the journey. You need to do the work to go back and pick up your inner children from school. I had a lot of parts stuck at school that I've left because I was bullied a lot. And I went back to those parts of myself and I said, let's get the hell out of here. We never have to be at this school ever again. You're coming home with me. Hop on this magic school bus and we'll go somewhere way better than here. And I've done that to so many different parts of myself that have held on to grudges and held on to things that have really hurt and that I've struggled to let go of, and that has been repeating in my life over and over again. I had no idea that this was why. It was because I didn't pick up my inner children that was still stuck in that energetic template or that belief or that mindset that I wasn't good enough or that I deserved to be bullied or I deserved to be treated that way. I had to go let that inner child know with that bad limiting belief that that wasn't true, and here's the new belief. You are worthy. You are loved. Come home with me, hop on the magic school bus, we're going somewhere awesome. So for those of you who believe in past lives as well, I consider the inner child anything that is a past version of you. So this can be wounds that we've picked up in our past lives that are playing out in our life now. We can do this exact same meditation and just set the intention to go back to when that wound first came up, that abandonment wound, that betrayal wound, that attention, love wound, whatever it was, neglect wound, and just set the intention and see what comes up and go back to that part of yourself and bring her back to now, bring her back to safety, bring her back to love, because that's all that matters. And for me, abandonment issues came up a lot and I had no idea that it was playing out in my life. I didn't know. My inner child was very sneaky of how she showed up in my reality, and I thought it was everyone else's fault because I didn't understand the Mirrorverse yet. But now I know that it was all parts of me playing out in everyone else in my life, and it was all just my inner children, my little sisters, asking and begging for attention. And now I've given them attention, and every time a trigger comes up, that's your inner child saying something. Every time something pisses you off, annoys you, makes you upset, makes you sad, there is an inner child or a past version of you that is needing some attention. So do a meditation and just set the intention to go back and heal that part of yourself and see what keeps reflecting and what keeps repeating in your life over and over and over again, and try and think of when was the first time this happened, and go back to that part and start telling her a new story so it doesn't keep playing out in your life. The past only keeps repeating itself because your inner child is still holding on to that past story, those past old negative limiting beliefs. You need to go back, pick her up. The past doesn't, like people say that the past doesn't exist. Yes, it does. Past, present, future, they're all playing out right now. They're all playing out simultaneously. The past is playing out in your life right now, and you need to go back to those inner children, pick them up, bring them to now so that past doesn't keep perpetuating and creating your future. So I hope this helps. Keep doing the inner child work. Keep showing every part of you love no matter what they spit in your face. Some of your inner teens are going to yell and scream and say all these horrible things. You tell her the new story so you can create your new life. You can create a better future for yourself, and you don't keep repeating the same things. Tell her the right story, the story of love, the story of worthiness, the story of her being good enough, the story of her attracting amazing people and experiences and opportunities into her life, and let her fall into your arms. Not your partner's arms, not your parents' arms, not your friend's arms. She wants to fall into yours, so be there for her, be open, listen to her, do everything that you would want someone else to do for you when you're in a hard time, when you're going through a hard time. Do that for yourself and see the reflections that come as a result of that. Everything is a mirrorverse. When this really lands for you, everything will change. You will start treating yourself like a queen, so you can get that treatment on the outside as well. The internal reflects the external, so keep doing the inner work and it will reflect outwards. And that's the big message from Spirit. I love you.